Hey everyone, well, this is going to be, if you're up for it, or if you're not, I know it's going to be, anyway, quite a lively NFL draft mock draft. This is the latest I have waited to do a mock draft because I wanted to sit back and see how things would change. Golden State Raider, how are you doing? And welcome everyone. I am in the process of setting up the stream here and hopefully, hey Barry, how you doing? And I'm going to the control room. And hopefully the stream reads good and I will know in a split second. It does. It says stream status good. Salute Golden State Raider. You guys are awesome. And let's see here. The NFL mock draft is out right here, but it's also on Zenny62 and I'll put up the link where you can see it in one moment. I am actually going to the watch page right now, where I am installing the 2017 NFL Draft mock draft here. Oh, that's interesting. I've got a commercial already. Wow, that's something else. That's interesting, quite interesting. At any rate, let me stop admiring my own stuff here. Hey, how you doing? And let's see here, MFL Draft mock draft right there. Copy that, and then I'll go down, hit here. What I'm doing right now, for those of you who stuck around, I had 12 and then I lost 4 because I figured, I guess I'm not tracking about, I don't know what they want me to talk about, whatever. The bottom line is, oh, I just got 9. The bottom line is, and 10. The bottom line is, I am installing right now what will be a link to the page with the mock draft on it. And yes, I'm got to get rid of my echo. I'm aware of that. Hello, Rowan. How are you? Thank you for the thumbs up, folks. What I'm doing right now is I'm installing the link to the NFL draft mock draft news here, the blog post link, so you can read it over at Zenny62. Okay, and it's called the 2017 NFL Draft Mock Draft on Zenny62.com. And so there's a link. So I'm saving changes. That is there. And we say, why am I doing this? So that it's easier to find in search is why I'm doing it. And the search placement generally begins pretty immediately, pretty quickly, okay? And I like to have this done before I do the stream a little bit after, so that's there. All the advanced settings are appropriately in place, except this should be listed in sports, not people and blogs. Boom. Live chat is enabled. I strongly encourage you to use Super Chat and put in your billions to get your statement out there if you want. And this is brought to you by Genesis Mining. How about that? I have an alternative cryptocurrency company as my sponsor. I like that. That's pretty cool. Now, Steve Macy, do you ever go to the 66 Mob Gets-togethers? Let me cut to the chase. If I were in the Bay Area, I would have gone to that meeting, and this live stream would have been about what I was told was a very well attended meeting of a lot of pissed off Raider fans who are ready to do something along the lines of a suit. Now, does that mean that they've organized and that suit's going to happen? They've organized. As to whether or not the suit's going to happen, something definitely is going to happen, folks. You can, as one once said, bet your bippies on it. And I think actually it was Don Cornelius from Soul Train who said that. Now, I'm putting a link in. This is the NFL mock draft link. Okay, link. And I'm putting it in here so you can follow along. There it is. All right. Hey, Bernard, how are you? Golden State Raider, how are you doing? The Rolling 100, how are you? Steve Macy, how are you, sir? And K123, H123, how are you doing? Bernard, and if I didn't say so before, Barry, thank you. And thank you for your messages on Twitter. Hey, and I've got other people here as well. This is great. We've got the usual band of Donis. How are you? Band of great people here, and I've got this mock draft right here, which among other things I have Patrick Mahomes. Oh, Barry Lee says, "Hey Donis, how you doing? Hey Bernard, how are you?" Barry Lee says, "I wish the Raiders hadn't put up the billboard on the site in Vegas because they might have wasted money." Might have. Joshua Gonzalez, suing them is ridiculous. You can't force a team to stay that doesn't want to stay. Actually, you can. But then what that team is after the lawsuit is a different story. Let's say the Raiders lost, okay? What would the end game be from that? If they lost, okay, I'm in a domain case, that means the Raiders would be essentially brought back but also resold because Mark Davis would deserve, by court structure and order and by law, his $2.1 billion. Okay, well, not his entirely, but the organization's, which includes his $2.1 billion. All right, so that changes the nature of the team. See, here's the problem. A lot of people associate, and I understand why, the Raiders only with Mark Davis, but you have to remember that the Raiders are bigger than Mark Davis. They are, for all practical purposes, a public trust. They have an ownership group, and they have, of course, the fans as shareholders. So it's not really as cut and dried as, hey, the team can do anything it wants to do. It may seem like it right now, but the appropriate pressure has not been applied in the appropriate area of law to cause the team to behave as a public trust. But the law is there to make that happen. And the question is whether or not we want to use it. Now, what do I think Oakland needs to do to build the community? Golden State Raiders. Raiders have gone from Oakland. They're still here, Golden State. Got to think of it that way. Rowan, Zin, do you like Libby and Oak have the gumption to fight and sue? I think Oakland does, but I don't think Libby does. I hope I'm wrong. Zin, your thoughts on the trademark issue? You know, one guy said that he filed because he had nothing better to do and he was bored. That guy needs to get a life. I'm sorry. Look, the bottom line is the federal government is not about to give the Las Vegas trademark to some bozo in Hawaii. That's just not happening, all right? It just isn't. So you have all these folks that have plucked down $275 thinking that they can own the piece of the Raiders. They have about as much of a snowball chance in hell of owning a piece of the Raiders as the Raiders have of actually opening their stadium in 2020 in Las Vegas. And yes, I did say that. Wow. Now, Zinni was reported that actually it's 28,000 deposits, 24,000 deposits. You said 23,000 were made during the first 48 hours. Yeah, it's how much was that? How much was that Golden State Raider? I mean, I know the answer. I just wanted to see you write down the amount because there's a point that I want to make here. All right? And, okay, I'm going to get to the mock draft. Yeah, right. $100 Golden State Raider. $100, okay? So, what's going to happen when the Raiders come calling and saying, okay, we want your credit card for your PSL that's going to cost you $5,000. Okay? And they run the card and, hey, it's not there. Suppose you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit on it, right? Or greater. And maybe you've used $6,000 in credit already. You're stuck. So there's a lot of problems that are going to rear their heads if the Raiders get that far to begin with. I personally don't think they will. That's just me. Now, and right, that doesn't include the season tickets. That's just for the right to buy the season ticket. It's called a personal seat license, invented by my friend Mark Gannis of Sports Corp in Chicago in 1994. So, now, can we talk mock draft? Mock draft. I want to talk mock draft. to talk mock draft. Deal's done, says Bernard. NFL won't let this go sideways. We'll make the NFL look bad. That's a great point, Bernard. I want to follow up here. The deal is that the NFL is not going to allow something to go down that turns out and it not in its favor. So it's not going to just be bullheaded and say, we've got to do this, we've got to make this happen. You have to remember, there are a number of people in the legal office that really seriously did not want the Raiders to move from Oakland to Las Vegas. This is not something that the NFL is cheering about. All right? So don't think that the NFL is bullheaded to make this happen. Just saying. Mark draft. I did say Mark draft, yeah. Hey, Steve Macy, you said you watched the 66 mob meeting, and yeah, you said Boss Man was hammering politicians. Yeah, he was, okay. Yeah, and sometimes he says things like, look, Libby's my god sister, and I'm very critical of Libby. But sometimes he gets on this thing, and he's my friend and everything, but it's like, it's easy to poke fingers. I hope he's watching this, because and I know he is. It's easy to poke fingers at other people. And I've said this to him, and I'll say it again. But it's hard to be the person that is in the position where everybody's expectations are up on you to deliver. All right? And so my point to anybody that criticizes is, look, go about the task of participating and building something rather than being that person that sits on the sidelines and waits either verbally or physically to try to destroy. That, I'm not saying that he's going to say, I'm not trying to destroy. But my point is that it's great to have critics, but sometimes the criticism has to be tempered with a desire to act, to take real action. And if it's like sometimes, you hear a person like John Gruden's voice when he was coaching with the Bucks, and at first it was really effective the first year, got him to the Super Bowl, and then after that, people got tired of the voice, and then they replaced him with Raheem Moore. Remember that? Well, my point is that if people hear you yell, after a while they're going to tone that out, because they're going to say, hey, that person's yelling, but they're not doing anything. Be involved in making it happen. I know he wants to be involved in making it happen, and that's why I'm saying that, all right? I'm not also saying this. He's not wrong about Libby. Nobody is. I don't think Libby is wrong about Libby. I think Libby knows she messed up. But the bottom line is, okay, we understand what happened. The question is, as a collective, what are we going to do about it? It can't be this protest thing, whereas, my friend Tika Thomas, who is on the show Saturday night, thank you all very much for participating, by the way, said that protesting is the new brunch, right? I mean, it's easy to get out there and protest and yell and scream. But building something, different story. All right, I digressed a bit too much. All right, now, let's talk NFL draft. No, Joe Mixon will not be selected. But let me go down through my picks, all right? And we can talk about my picks. I'll post the link once again so that you can see them. And here, you can have at me about them. Boom. And there they are. Once again, all right? And I'm going to read them like this. Okay, there they are. Now, my first is from the Cleveland Browns, Patrick Mahomes. Now, yeah, I said Patrick Mahomes to the Browns. And the reason for this call is not that I do actually think this could happen. Because there's a discussion within the Browns front office of whether to go defense with Myles Garrett or quarterback. Now, I have a ranking system for quarterbacks I started using last year, and it's robust. In fact, last year, every quarterback that made it in my top 12 actually made it into the league at some level. Even if they were a free agent, they didn't get drafted, but they got picked up and they made it into the league, okay? But I know Jarrett, thank you. I keep doing that, I understand. But at any rate, thank you for that. But at any rate, Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback I have scored, and this is how my scoring system works. Let me back up. Anyone could do this. I love a numerically based decision system. It's kind of like you put up all these complex numbers, and then you just add a little vodka, right? That's me, okay? So I do the complex numbers first, and then I add the vodka. Now, this is it. I go and I look at the list of, first of all, eligible NFL quarterbacks, college quarterbacks from the NFL draft, right? Then I look at the ones that went to the combine. I evaluate them myself, and I look at the top NCAA passers in terms of yardage, and then passing efficiency. Those two, and I take both the yardage number, and then I look at where the quarterback ranked, and I take that rank, and then I add it with the passing efficiency rank, okay, and I divide that by 2, and that becomes that quarterback score. And then I rank those quarterbacks by score. Patrick Mahomes had the number 1 ranking in terms of yardage, 5,052 yards last year. Now, get this, his efficiency, considering the yards for which he threw, his efficiency was 11th in the country, just behind Mitch Trubisky. In fact, the two of them were not far apart, along with, guess who? Deshaun Watson, okay, of Clemson, who can also run. Think about it. Now, so, but when you score them, Mahomes is number 1. That means you've got a guy who's used to slinging it, who, if you need him to do it in the fourth quarter, all right, can make those plays from anywhere on the field. He can hit that 80-yard bomb. We saw him do it on Gruden's quarterback camp. Now, I understand there are people who have issues with him. Well, go to State Raider, every quarterback at this level is a developing quarterback. It's just a matter of what system you put that person in. Now, if you say Carson Wentz, my retort is that Mr. Wentz had the good fortune, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, of being selected by the Doug Peterson coached Philadelphia Eagles and put in what has to be one of the most intelligently designed offenses for personnel, in NFL history. The Eagles are a joy to watch because Carson Wentz, who grew up in a West Coast system, is in a West Coast system. It's the best example of plug and play quarterbacking I have seen since Andrew Luck came in to the Colts from Stanford. Okay, I mean, just beautiful. It's as that android character in Alien would say, is its purity is matched only by its hostility. Yeah, that's what you get. I mean, it's that good a match. Okay, so but Mahomes would be paired with Hugh Jackson, who's an excellent coach with a passing game, and they have 2 picks. So if you're thinking defense, they can get that defender at 12. They'll be okay. Now, all right, so continuing, I have Mitch Trubisky going to the San Francisco 49ers. Kaepernick's gone. Blaine Gabbert's there, but Gabbert hasn't been as effective as people would like. Let's face it. And there's not that quarterback on the Niner roster you can point to that says he's the guy. Okay? I mean, perhaps one of the current crop, perhaps Gabbert will respond to coaching from Kyle Shanahan and his crew. But why not start off fresh? Why not bring in Mr. Trubisky? I think that could happen. Okay? Now, Golden State Raiders says, I heard Steelers would draft Mahomes. I heard Steelers, if he falls that far. He may not fall that. He may not get there. A lot of people think the Texans would get him. But I disagree with Joshua. He's ready. And it has to do with look, there are people who just don't like the air raid. I know Charlie Casserly doesn't like the air raid. I am an air raid disciple. What is the air raid? The air raid is basically a system of passing that was developed or has its roots at BYU under Lavelle Edwards, and in turn he picked up his system a lot from Sid Gilman and Al Davis. Okay, Al Davis had a big impact on him. So But the Sid Gilman offense is really the first air raid. The difference between the air raid and the Bill Walsh offense is that the air raid / Sid Gilman system doesn't call on steps in its natural design. It says drop back 5 yards. Okay? And it's more of a, you don't have a progression. You have a receiver that you're going to hear if that person is open, depending on the safety move, or you're going over here. All right? And it's very predicated on the key movement rather than a progression of 1, 2, 3. In other words, there's some offenses, Walsh offenses, it's less based on the key movement, so much timing, like number 1, number 2, number 3, depending on the play. 3-step, 5-step, 7-step. We don't see a lot of 7 steps anymore, except Dirk Carter's offense at the Bucks. Okay, now I'll continue. The Chicago Bears, Myles Garrett, defensive end. Now I know that this is not a position of need for the Bears, but given the talk about Garrett and his being a workout wonder and his measurables, as he said at the combine, have you seen my measurables? Anyway, the bottom line is, it's hard to see Jarrett lasting, past around the 5th pick. On the other hand, I cannot cotton to the idea of picking him being picked number 1. Neither can Warren Sapp. I don't know if you heard or read what Warren Sapp said, but Sapp called him lazy. He said that maybe there are 4 or 5 plays a game where he's good, and the rest of the time he gets lost. And that's what I saw, not just in the game pitting Alabama versus Texas A&M, but also the Texas A&M Tennessee game. I saw the same thing. All right. And so Golden State Warriors says Jarrett is a dog. And I have to remember Valley Jarrett, because they have the same, Valley Jarrett and Myles Garrett have the same last name. And Valley worked for the President Obama. At any rate, Joshua Gonzalez says, does Warren Sapp really have the best credibility right now? Yeah, of course he does. Why wouldn't he? He is an NFL Hall of Fame defensive tackle. Of course he does. There's no reason why he wouldn't. Now, let's see. I don't see it in Garrett. Dude had 1 or 2 good games. Exactly. It's Myles Garrett. Okay, fine. You know what I mean. The bottom line is, I know it. Okay, now, Myles Garrett. Garrett, right? Garrett. I keep saying Jarrett. Garrett. Now, I'll continue. We've got the Chicago Bears getting O.J. Howard at running back. O.J. Howard, when I say running back, tight end. God, it's been a long day. O.J. Howard's an amazing tight end who's, when I was thinking of O.J. Howard, in the back of my mind, I was thinking about the fact that he's actually a better physical specimen than Leonard Fournette. He ran the 40 about as fast as Fournette did. It was even bigger, okay? That was what was going through my mind when I blurted that out. So, now, let's see. I would take Barnett ahead of Garrett, says Evan Cruz. And Crawford, I agree. Myles Garrett doesn't pass the eye test. Crawford said something there that, I didn't think that was, hey, Golden State Raider, I didn't think that was bad. Yeah, he said something that was okay. I mean, I think, sorry, Crawford, post that again, because I want to respond to that. I didn't think that he was, sorry about that. Sorry, Crawford. That's on me. I'll take that. I made him the moderator. I stand by it. I'm proud of that, so I'll take the heat for that. But, repost your point, because I thought it was a great point. Golden State Raider just doing his job. He's doing a great, fantastic job, and I appreciate and love what he's doing. So, Golden State Raider, you keep on doing what you do. We'll be all right. But Crawford, if you could repost that would be great. Now, Golden State, you say that Myles, your phone locked, says Golden State Raiders. Oh boy. Joshua Gonzalez, Leonard Fournette, top running back. And no, Golden State, apology accepted. Okay, now let's press on. O.J. Howard, tight end to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be great for a great target for Blake Bortles. Tennessee Titans pick from Los Angeles Rams. I have Jamal Adams. That's right. And so the ultimate, in fact, I'm using the NFL Draft Ultimate Big Board. So what I'm going to do is print that out as I talk, just so I can get, actually he's got, yeah, I'll print that. So if you hear that behind me, you're going to hear this printer rev up and do its thing, I think, I hope, I guess. I don't hear anything. Oh, now it's going. There it goes. The printer is going. Now, right, see, Crawford is right. Crawford 371, thanks. Yeah, the knock is he can be lazy, and I've seen that in the video I've watched. Okay, he just, it's like he takes certain plays off and he, rests, and then he revs himself up for that big shot play, which may or may not come. And so you see him making these spectacular dowling for losses and all that, but then, he's out of a play the next time around, right? A lot of the time. So, we've got Browns need to back out of number one if they don't feel comfortable drafting a quarterback to number one on Miles. I agree, Airplane. They may do that. Okay? Now, we've got, as I said, Jamal Adams going to Tennessee, and Jamal Adams is a fantastic player who some people actually think should be drafted, number one. He is the strong safety out of LSU, and I have the Titans getting him. The New York Jets, I have the Ohio State free safety Malik Hooker. Yeah, Malik Hooker. The Ohio State free safety Malik Hooker going to the Jets. And for the fifth pick, now the newly moved Los Angeles Chargers are said to have a need for, some people say they need a quarterback here, okay? Some people say they need a quarterback. However, I think they're going to go for a solid Jonathan Allen pick right here from Alabama. The Alabama defensive end will be a Los Angeles Charger player here. And Airplane Blue says Browns are an interesting team to look at during the draft. I quite agree. Edwin Cruz says takes two to tango. No player really worth giving up picks for in this deep draft. Golden State says thank you, Zinni and Crawford. You're very welcome. Golden State Warrior says Browns are interesting. Hopefully they hit on picks. Yeah, for once. Joshua Gonzalez, the Jets situation might be worse than the Browns. At least Browns have young talent and picks. That's a great point. That is a great point. Someone else has a need for wide receiver too is the Ravens. The Ravens have they have some help there. Their receivers are a little up there. So are the Colts. The Colts wide receivers are like 4 years in the league, 3 years in the league, 6 years in the league, maybe a couple that are 2 years in the league, and that's about it. So they need some help there, but we'll get down there. Now, Airplane Blue says Joshua, yeah, Jets always drafting a busts. Yeah, sadly. Now, we have the Carolina Panthers, and I have Leonard Fournette taking the Carolina Panthers. Going to the Carolina Panthers, the Carolina Panthers taking Leonard Fournette. If the Panthers get Leonard Fournette, it's over. Leonard Fournette, my gosh. Kelvin Benjamin, and then you've got Cam Newton at quarterback, and man, that would be incredible. Wow. That's what I'm saying, exactly. Fournette would be a monster. That would be so huge. That would be the talk of the draft. Period. You'd have to give the Panthers an A. At least for the first day, So now Golden State swears that the Jags will get Fournette, up and down. But I just have a feeling that the Jags are going to pass on Fournette. I could be wrong. No, Corey Coleman is not a bust. Not at all. Not at all. No, not at all. But he needs a compliment there. In fact, the Browns have a lot of young wide receivers. They have a roster full of second and third year wide receivers. The Browns do. So they've got some young hands. They really do. Now, we got the Buffalo Bills. I have the Buffalo Bills taking the Marshawn Lattimore. And, I was struggling with this at first because I thought that, Marshawn Lattimore is more of a cornerback, a value pick. I thought perhaps the Bills might go for a wide receiver here. I thought for a second about moving Jonathan Ross into that position, but I think this more fits what the Bills might actually do. All right. I've got Marshawn Lattimore, the Ohio State cornerback, going to the Buffalo Bills. Then I've got the Clemson wide receiver Mike Williams going to, that's right, going right to the New Orleans Saints as a new target for Drew Brees and maybe Johnny Manziel, right? We'll see what happens there. See where you guys are. What are you guys saying about all this? Now, a lot of people think Watson is better than Trubisky. I think where Trubisky excels, aside from his wrong numbers, they're close, okay, is his command of the West Coast offense and throwing on a hitch. See, the problem the NFL has today, because of the collective bargaining agreement, I'm not criticizing the NFL Players Association at all. I'm simply pointing out a fact. There's less time to work with developing quarterbacks now in the league. So you've got to get a quarterback that has been, trained already in what you want to run at the college level. And so that's why there are people who are saying, air raid guy, because no NFL team runs pure air raid. But there are a number of NFL teams that run pure West Coast, okay? So that's what you're getting here. All right, let's see where I'm at. Took the liberty of doing all this. I'm almost done. Doesn't the fact that he only played 1 year in college worry me? No. No. I would say in terms of Trubisky, no, it doesn't bother me because of the possibility that he would go into a system situation much like Carson Wentz did, okay? So it doesn't bother me at all, really. Is it a factor? Of course it is. But does it bother me? No, it does not. It does not bother me. So hyped for the draft on Thursday. Got tickets to sit in the draft theater. So Edwin, you're going to be in Philadelphia? Wow. I'll be there. I'm excited. I am quite excited. Now, let's see here. I'm going to tweet this out. I'm just seeing another tweet. Peppers. I'm just seeing out a tweet, folks. That's all right. There. Cool. It says, when am I taking off? Wednesday morning. And, okay, now, that's printing out here. Now we are at the Cincinnati Bengals, and I have the Bengals taking Derek Burnett, and this was something else I thought about too, but Derek Burnett's a good linebacker and a good person that I think would really be a great fit for the Bengals in terms of what they want to do, not just the defensive end, but they can move him even at linebacker if they wanted to because of his frame, outside linebacker, and make him that blitzer, that effective blitzer that would improve their defense. So this is a utility pick for the Bengals. Bengals do need some help at wide receiver, but this is the kind of pick that really solidifies their defense, and he'll be there for 5 to 6 years. So yeah, Derek Barnett goes to the Bengals from Tennessee. Now, let's see here. Will Lynch sign before Friday? Any update on your sources? I don't have any credible sources on that because I haven't called anybody to ask about Marshawn Lynch. There is one person I can call who would be a more than credible source. I just haven't done so yet, but I will. Okay? So I just haven't been looking in that direction, but I will since you asked. I get a lot of questions and I have to step up to the plate on that. Edwin Cruz says, yeah, riding the train in from New Jersey, not dealing with a cluster in Center City. Wow, cool. Hey, so if you're around the Philadelphia thing, give me a ping there. Henry Flores says, Zinni, you think the Rays will draft Joe Mixon if he's on the table? No. M. Miguel, Myles Garrett overrated? Yes. Joshua Gonzalez, if Lewis doesn't win a playoff game this year, it should be his last as Bengals coach. Mahomes would be perfect on the Texans. Yes, I hear a number of people saying that. Finally, I have effectively entirely printed out the NFL Draft Bible Ultimate Big Board, which you can read at nfldraftbible.com. And I've used this as the basis for my player selections for this mock draft, and I did so because my buddy Rick Saratella has worked very hard to put together this amazing resource. This is the, right here. See, this is the NFL Draft Bible Big Board. See that? It's the NFL Draft Bible Big Board. So it's his big board that I use as my resource here. That's what I'm quoting. All right. Now, let's see here. You've got, having said the Bengals and the Bills, we now come to the New Orleans Saints, who take Mike. I said Mike Williams for the Saints. I'm sorry. We've got the Cleveland Browns picking at 12, where the Eagles would have been, and I have them taking Taco Charlton, and this is another solid pick that will result in a player that stays with them for a long time. Taco Charlton from Michigan. He is 6'5", runs a 4.9240. Okay, 277 pounds. Taco Charlton of Michigan. That's a great pick for the Browns. And now you see a possibility here. The Browns get a quarterback. They get a great skill position player at top, but they can wait and get a quality defensive end like Taco at 12. All right? And come away smelling like a rose. They don't need to take Myles at number 1. Sorry, Myles. Just saying. All right? Now, moving along, we've got the Arizona Cardinals. And I have the Arizona Cardinals taking Hassan Reddick, the linebacker. And Hassan is 6'1", 237, runs a 4.5240, and is be a solid player for them. Really would. Hassan Reddick, I have going to the Arizona Cardinals. That leaves the Eagles from Minnesota. Now, okay. Adrian Peterson is slated to be gone, right? Somewhere. Not to Minnesota. Which means they have an opening at running back. I filled in that blank with none other than Florida State's Delvin Cook. That's right. That will excite the Viking faithful. Delvin Cook, all right? Let's see here. I'll talk about that in a second. How am I feeling about Kelvin King? Not so much. Now, Joshua Gonzalez says, I grew up in an environment where you respected women. Mixon's not going to be drafted, all right? I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. I haven't made a video about this, but I'll say this right here, right now. Joe Mixon is not being drafted. It is not happening. I don't care what anyone says about or guesses or anything. He's not going to be drafted. Period. And I'll explain why in a little bit, all right? Okay. If Joe Mixon is drafted, I'll be shocked. I'm not going to do anything crazy or make a bet or anything. I just think if Joe Mixon would be drafted, Ray Rice would have a complete issue, among other things. Okay? Not to mention the girl that was hit by Joe Mixon. Has anyone seen the Joe Mixon video? I'm not going to put it up here, but have you seen it? Just yes. Just let me know if you've seen it by a yes. I'm just asking, okay? Have you seen it? You have. You have. Barry Lee has not. Golden State Raider hasn't. Who else? Damien's seen it. Garden State has. Joshua has. Edwin Cruz has seen it. Henry Flores has seen it. I think I'm going to, you know what? I'm not going to play it, but I will put a link up to it so you can see it. All right? A lot of you have seen it. A lot of you have seen it. I just think it's worth reposting the clip, because, the link to the clip, all right? Just because I do believe that you need to strike no pun intended. I do think that you need to see exactly what Mr. Mixon did. Again, I have this could be disturbing to you. Just as a warning. I'm just saying warning, all right? And there's the link, and that's as much as I do. I give you a link. That's it. That's the excuse me. That's it. So you can have a look yourself, and you can tell me your reaction. Because I understand it might take some video time away. Excuse me, I just dropped the goods there. All right, but have a look, okay? Now, Zinni, there is no chance Mixon will not be drafted. He will go in the second round. Mark, I just can't see it. And Barry says it for me. What blows his mind and mine too is why any sports agent will represent him. Yeah. Hey, Mark, you watched the link that I just put up there above your head. Actually, ironically enough, it's 2 spaces above your name. You watch that link and then you tell me if you think he should be drafted. All right? Mark, it was bad. He knocked the girl out. She's down there on the floor. Let me ask you, what level of bad are you willing to... look, how bad does bad have to be for you to say, oh, no. Would she have to die? That's crazy. What if she was your sister? Or cousin? Or girlfriend? If she was your girlfriend, I would say, why are you letting... Right. That's my point. But she didn't... Just because a woman hits you first doesn't mean you have to hit them back. Okay? Because think about what you said. She hit him first. Well, obviously she didn't hit him hard enough to knock him out. All right? So obviously he's a lot stronger. Why did he need to hit her back? He didn't. I don't know who taught you that tit for tat between a man and woman is right. But I'm telling you to get it through your head that it's not. Okay? Get it through your head that it's not. Sorry to be, but folks, that is horrible, to say the least. I just can't stand that. That's not even, you have a right to think what you want to think, of course, but, why? Why even entertain that thought with somebody, okay? And, no. Okay, let me say something about that, and I'll come back. Does anybody remember Sean Oakman from last year? By a yes. The Baylor defensive end, who was one of the top-rated defensive players in the entire draft. At one point, one of the top 10. Does anybody remember him? Sean Oakman? Yeah? Okay. Does anybody see that? Anybody? Sean Oakman was accused of and charged with allegedly sexually assaulting a girl that came over, that I guess he was over his house. It was something really complicated where, there was obviously a gray area there. I don't know how the case came out. But Sean Oakman did not get drafted. So you're going to tell me that as good as Sean Oakman was as a player at Baylor, and he didn't get drafted for that, that Joe Mixon should be drafted, even with what he did, I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense to me. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. Okay? Now, you're saying he will be drafted. How do you know? I'm saying that based on my 15 years of experience covering the NFL draft and 12 years at the draft, I can't see it. I just can't see it. That would be a first. That would be a complete first. It would be also a signal of how this society has turned against women. That's how I would read it. I'm sorry. I would hope that there is something left in society where a gentleman and the behavior of a gentleman is prized. I really do. Because we would face nothing less than a deep descent into barbarism. I'm just saying that straight out. Man, I don't care how that sounds. That's just the way I call it. That's not right. And I know I'm going out a bit too far, and I'll go back to reading the mock draft. But I mean, come on, seriously. All right, now, okay. Oh, don't worry about it, Mark. I'm not betting you. No, don't even. I won't even look. Don't insult me, Mark. I'll block you. Okay, just stop it. That's just how much you're pissing me off right now. Just stop it. Okay, I'm really serious. Now, okay. Excuse me. We came to the Eagles getting Delvin Cook, the running back out of Florida State. Indianapolis Colts, one of those people who, okay, here's the thing. Delvin Cook is a running back who does not have Mixon's issues and would be a fantastic player with the Minnesota Vikings. I think he would be a game changer for him. Like I said before, Vikings fans would just go fantastic over him. But that would leave the Indianapolis Colts without that breakaway running back. However, they are long in the tooth at wide receiver, and Curtis Samuels from Ohio State would fill the bill nicely for the Colts. So Curtis Samuels will become an Indianapolis Colt in this mock draft. Now we go to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens. And it's not that, okay. What show am I watching? Is this guy in NFL media? Yes, I am, Tom. But I tell you what, since I'm kind of in a bad mood right now, you're gone. And, yeah, I'm in a bad mood. So anyway, sorry about that. Now, don't worry about Joshua. I mean, people like that, I just get rid of. You want to screw around, go, I don't know, go someplace else. They're not here. But at any rate, yeah, hey, Jack Bauer, how you doing? Now, at any rate, the bottom line is, I really like the idea of the Baltimore Ravens getting this guy. I think he's going to be a huge game changer. In fact, in one of my mock draft tests, I had him going number 1. That person is none other than Washington wide receiver Jonathan Ross, the record holder in the NFL Combine. The man who really does deserve consideration as a number 1 pick. Why? Because he has and will destroy NFL defenses. The opposing defenses. He did it in college, and he will do it in the National Football League. Talking about John Ross, wide receiver from Washington. That guy, yeah. And he got he got a hammy, okay? And I don't know about, how you doing, Jack? hold on with McCaffrey. That's that could happen. McCaffrey to the Colts. I just didn't see. Well, I'll get to McCaffrey in a second, but he had a hammy because I watched him. In fact, I made a video about his record-breaking performance. He had a hamstring pull, and he decided not to chance go any other a further risk of injury with his performance. But I know a number of people have read content based on Mike Mayock's press conference on Friday. But I come back to this. Jadeveon Clowney out of South Carolina had, let's see, a hernia problem in 2013, and then a knee in 2014. He had a share of injuries, and there were claims that he was taking a bit off of his game in his senior year to save himself for the NFL draft. And then he had stomach problems with an ulcer, I believe it was. Yeah, ulcer. He had an ulcer problem and a hernia. And there was some bother like a sprained knee or ankle. But the bottom line is that Jadeveon Clowney had his share of injuries in college, and yet he was picked number 1. So how come, considering that Jadeveon Clowney did not demonstrably improve the Texans' defense his first year, why is it that a person who, by dint of his natural talent, will demonstrably improve an NFL offense when he brings in his first year, not be considered at number 1 the same position as Clowney? That's mind-boggling to me. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, Edwin Cruz says, I heard McCaffrey hasn't getting past the Panthers. Could be all smoke, though. Could be. Ross has got injury concerns, but we better version of Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, the injury concerns that came from Mayock, okay? But look, I want you to look at the injury list of every number 1 pick going back to 10 years in college, what they said about them as far as their injuries. You'll be quite surprised at what you read, particularly Clowney, all right? And yet they were taken number 1 anyway. So when I hear someone saying that, I'm thinking, why is it that Mayock or someone is investing so much airtime in trying to devalue this pick? Is he trying to assist someone? Because, I mean, I'm not saying that Mayock actually causes movement like that. He doesn't. He causes the public to think differently, as evidenced by your comments here, right? But if Mike Mayock were able to actually move the thoughts of NFL GMs, Cam Newton would not have been number 1 to Carolina. That would not have happened. That happened in spite of Mayock. Mike Mayock said that Cam Newton didn't have heart in college. Think about that. So, just letting you know, I have nothing personally against Mike Mayock. Well, okay, look, there was a time when Mayock, to me, spent an inordinate amount of time devaluing black quarterbacks. And his comment about Cam Newton was, for me, the high watermark. Also, when I interviewed Mayock, this was at the 2009 NFL draft. We were at Chelsea Piers Luncheon. I asked him about why there was a perception that college passing offenses were more complicated, more effective, and more innovative than pro. And rather than giving the comment its appropriate time, he kind of looked at me like I was, crazy or something. By contrast, Washington Redskins head coach Jay Gruden agreed with me when we were at the NFL annual meeting this year. He says, yeah, it is. So, I mean, why not address that question? So, for those reasons, it's taken me a while to warm up to what Mayock does, but Mayock has also tempered his comments about players to a point where I think the emotion has been taken out of it, the analysis and the thought has replaced that void, and he's become the best of a group when I say one of the best, because Charles Davis I still think is better. One of the best of a small group of NFL draft analysts. Charles Davis, his partner at the NFL Network, I think is the best because Charles does a consistently great job of clinically evaluating a talent, period. There's no hint of judgment that comes from a personal place with Charles Davis. Charles Davis sets a high watermark standard that others should follow. So that's why I say Charles Davis is the best. So, and so Mayock was spot on with Mac. That's true, he was. Let's see here. Now, okay, I went to... What did I miss here? What do I think Ben Cahoon will be drafted? Let me get to that one. Bernard says John Ross will be good. His route running pretty good as well as others. His downhill speed. You know something about John Ross, Bernard, is that look at the tape and the number of times his quarterback actually underthrew him. Not intentionally, just because Ross is so fast. You get a quarterback that actually hit him in stride, game over, man. Like a Jameis Winston, game over. Game over. Okay, now, we've gone through the Colts, we've gone through the Redskins. Now, the Redskins are number 17. I have taken Christian McCaffrey. And that's exciting. You think of Christian McCaffrey with his running and pass catching abilities paired with Jay Gruden in his offense with Kirk Cousins. I like that. I really like that. Hey, Val, how you doing? I like that a lot. And so, Henry Flores says, Florida defensive lineman Caleb Brantley will also not get drafted. He was charged with assault. Right. So, I mean, this is not happening, all right? It just isn't, okay? And Mark, I apologize for getting upset, but you were kind of pushing it a bit. And I need to get on with talking about these other picks, okay? And because there are people who have concerns beyond Mr. Mixon and that relate to the Raiders. So, Mark, come on back, but, just know when you're pressing it, you realize what will happen if you press too much. Just saying. So, now, Jack Bauer says, John Ross practiced against the Elephant secondary in Washington. They had 3 defensive backs, all can go in round 1. True. Thank you. Henry Flores, moral clause, the players have to be held to higher standards. Yes, Buck Zone. FTC, Samuel, not a first round talent. Okay. Why do you say that? My opinion on Adoree Jackson, I'll get to that in a second. Adoree, you asked me about Ben Calhoun. That's we're probably looking at second or third round with Calhoun. Right, as it looks right now, Valerie. Jack Bauer says Kevin King, Budda Baker, and Sidney Jones. All right. Now, let me continue here. We have McCaffrey going to the Washington Redskins. And we've got Valerie, that's not funny. But at any rate, in fact, Valerie, are you really Valerie? Okay, Valerie, if you're gonna kid around like that, I'm gonna block you because that's wasting the time of others. All right. So Valerie, you're gonna stop doing that, or should I block you? You have 5 seconds to let me know. 4, 3, 2. Okay, cool. You got it. You survived. Thanks. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So at any rate, now we've got Tennessee Titans taking Tre'Davious White. Now, I struggle with that. I thought that the Titans might go for someone, perhaps more along the lines of McKinley from LSU, the defensive end. From UCLA, the defensive end. But, or Melifonwu from UConn. But, I really do believe that Tre'Davious White is a game-changing cornerback, runs a 4.47 40. That is the pick that the Titans will use to solidify their defense. You have to think about the Titans. Wow, the Titans have Jamal Adams and Tre'Davious White. Think about that secondary. Woo! That's a secondary for the ages, you know? So we've got next the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking. Can I get a drum roll from somebody? Drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll. Thank you. Reuben Foster to the Bucks. Yeah, the Reuben Foster that was at one point the number 1 pick in the Bucky Brooks draft, falling. Actually, no, number 2 in Bucky Brooks. He had Jamal Adams number 1, falling to the Bucks. Falling to the Bucks. Mitch Moss of ESPN 100,000 reporting that financing deal not approved. What are you talking about? What the? No, that's great. What's this? What is this? Wait. Stop the mock draft. Auburn, what? Are you kidding me? Whoa, this is huge. What? Hey, look. Hey, Auburn Wild, you're what? Financing deal not approved? This just happened now? Okay, yeah. Time out, folks. Let's check. Whoa, let's check and see what the heck is going on here, folks. Wow. Are you serious? Does anybody want to get on Skype and put out the computer and talk about this? This is huge. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Las Vegas. Is this on Twitter? Did you find this on Twitter? Are you serious? Are you just getting us all excited? Better not be. Hold on a second. Las Vegas. You say financing deal not approved by who? By Bank of America? What are you saying here? Let's see here. Now, you did say stop the mock draft. You made us stop all this stuff here. All right. Let me check on this news. Someone said it on ESPN. Look on ESPN website now. I was looking on Twitter. Let's see here. Sneak peek, $2 billion a draw dropper. Room tax revenue about 25% ahead of projections. Yeah. Let's see here. That's 6 hours. All right. I'll go to ESPN 1100 Las Vegas. Not approved by who? Let's see here. Right now, that's old. I don't see that. ESPN 11, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. You said it was said on there. We'll just have to wait because it hasn't hit Twitter yet. Yeah, it hasn't hit Twitter yet, so I'll have to wait for confirmation. All right. Wait a minute. Auburn is not for sure. He's saying on his show right now. Thanks, Valerie. Appreciate it. Mitch Moss of ESPN 100 reporting financing deal not approved. This source is telling him the financing stadium deal might not go through. He said this. Okay. Well, it'll come out. Look, if it's something that... Yeah, flesh that out and keep us posted. I can't... And I haven't got a text on it now. But... Did you check the ESPN website? Because my RAM is consumed with your chats and everything, and so it's hard for me to just switch over effectively without, gumming up other aspects here. Now, what it means, basically what it means is it's a huge step. It's a huge setback, and it's an open door for Oakland to act is what it means. That's what it means. But financing deal not go through would simply mean Bank of America rejected it. Either that, it would have to mean that or something with the lease. Something happened. There's something wrong here. If this story turns out to be true, I'm going to play the caution game and not treat this as if it actually happened until we receive actual confirmation that this was the case, all right? Now, Jack Bauer said it best. Time for Oakland to get it together. And Barry says he's looked and he hasn't seen anything. Okay, so you know what? Well, let's see what happens with that, right? You're saying Mitch Moss reported that on ESPN 1100 Las Vegas? Well, let's hold it out and see what happens, okay? Now let's continue with the mock draft. All right. We've got, let's see here. The Buccaneers have gotten Reuben Foster. Can you imagine the Buccaneers with Reuben Foster, Gerald McCoy, Quan Anderson? Wow. I mean, that would be amazing to pair those linebackers in a kind of a 3-2 look in a 4-3, with the two inside linebackers, right? It's a 4-man front, but it's actually designed like an Oklahoma. Yeah. Yowzers. Lights out, baby. Lights out. I'm sorry. Lights out. To me, okay, Peppers, Joshua Gonzalez-Peppers is really a strong safety. He's really some have him. I have him as rover. I think he would be an outstanding rover position player in a 46 defense. All right, but the bottom line is his natural Peppers position. His natural position, has been free safety, but in a number of instances with Michigan, I have seen him come up and play linebacker, rover. I have seen him basically fill in for the Michigan defense's weakness in stopping the edge run. Okay, and he was very effective that way. He's a lot like Troy Polamalu, the former Pittsburgh Steelers free safety in his play, capable of coming up from 10 yards downfield and downing a running back for loss that fast and that effective. He's done it many times. So I think that if the Raiders got him, wow. Now, yeah, he could play safety or slot corner, but he could play much along the lines of the Falcons' first-round pick last year in the and the way he played rover in the Super Bowl. All right. Now, to continue, we've got the Denver Broncos taking Forrest Lamp, and Forrest Lamp is one of the best linemen not named Cam Robinson. He is 6'3", 305 pounds, run a solid 5.40 from Western Kentucky. Is Forrest Lamp, and Miguel, how are you doing? Miguel asks, Zinni, what happens if this turns out to be true? What does this mean for the Raiders? It means that, it means the NFL would really have to take another look at the Vegas situation and give Oakland a chance. That's what I think it means. But the way the NFL works, is based on how aggressive you are at trying to push a deal to them. If Oakland isn't aggressive, then it's not happening. But if that door opens, a lot of Raider fans will be pushing for the city and the county to take advantage of the situation. And that will reactivate the fortress and Ronnie Lott like that. It should. So I hope that news is true. I really do. Okay? Now, hope I answered your question. Now we've got, let's see here. Back to the, Damien says he's kind of like Micah Hyde, does everything. Thank you, yeah. Scott Dillon says, would the NFL bankroll them? I don't think so, no. Damien asks, watch Lamp versus LSU in Alabama. He did a very good job against both, which has top 5 defenses in the nation. Henry Flores says, Zinni, if this is true, you have to get involved. Thank you. Joshua Gonzalez, Stephen Ross is the only one that voted against the move. Yes, he did. That's true. Barry Lee says, I also checked ESPN 100 website and there's nothing I could find. Thanks, Barry. Yeah, I mean, well, he says his sources are saying that, and, we have to wait and see what happens. We're all excited because it's news in our favor. Well, it seems to be news in our favor. So let's just temper this, all right? It's one of those too good to be true kind of things, right? All right. Valerie Oakley at Auburn Wire Twitter posting link of Mitch Moss. Okay. Thank you, Val. Hey, Val, can you take that tweet, get the link to that tweet? Do you know how to do that? And then put it in here for us so we can have a look at that tweet? Thank you. All right. Miguel Rose. Then the Raiders need to get very aggressive in order to stay in Oakland. Yes. And Valerie Oakland says, no, so maybe he was accurate. No, I mean, we don't know right off the bat. We have to let this play out and see what happens. This is Sunday going into Monday. I think this is, let me go back to it. I'm just about to jump. I want to temper my enthusiasm here. I want to curb my enthusiasm to steal a line from Larry David, one of my favorite comedy writers of our generation. So at any rate, now, okay, go to Auburn Wild Twitter. All right, let me do that right now. Go to Auburn Wild on Twitter. See what's happening here. There's Twitter there. And you say go to Auburn Wild, right? And do that right now. And I'll show you all. Burn Wild. Okay. There's Auburn Wild. Entrepreneur, minor league baseball owner, that person. Pinned tweet. Yep, there it is. Breaking news. Raiders moved to Las Vegas through stadium deal. Mitch Ross reported by Zinni62. I haven't reported that. No, I didn't report that. That's actually no. I'd have to say I didn't report that. Nope, I did not report that. Not at all. No, I didn't report that. Not at all. So that's not. See, my thought would be, let's see here. First, I have to block Auburn Wild. Auburn Wild is blocked. Okay, folks, I didn't report that. So Auburn Wild is blocked there. Okay, Auburn, you're not welcome to my channel. And Valerie, who put out that first, all right? No, I'm not getting any attention, Auburn. And Auburn, I gotta ban you because the reason why is, for one thing, I didn't report that, and you're blocked. Okay. So no, you're blocked. So no, you're blocked. All right. So you're blocked, and NFL Access on Radio didn't. So Valerie, you're blocked too, as well. Okay. So let's see here. All right. So the both of you are banned and blocked. Auburn Wild's been blocked on Twitter. So let's see who else gets blocked. Yeah, cool. So we're blocked. So nothing there. All right. So yeah. So the show continues. Sorry about that, folks. Just a bunch of clowns. You know. Oh, no problem. You know, I love blocking and banning clowns. That's what clowns do. That's why they're called clowns. So now, it was nothing there. It was absolutely nothing there because I knew that it's like, huh, come on, really, come on. I mean, yeah. No, there's nothing. Hey, how you doing? No, they were just some idiots. You know, they're blocked. So anyway, yeah. Wow, Zinni, carry on, man. Fake news story got me looking too. That's okay. It got some people looking, but here's the bottom line. You know, they're blocked. I put them out there. They're blocked, and they can't do that. So no. And it says nope. That didn't come from. And you guys know that didn't come from me. So no. And then not only that, I'll say this. I would like to see. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I would love to see a well done deal in Las Vegas, but it has to be well done. Okay, period. Now, yeah, so anyway, okay, so carry on. We are at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, get Reuben Foster. We have got, let's see here, Detroit Lions. Now I have the Detroit Lions getting Corey Davis. And Corey Davis, I think, Corey Davis is from Western Michigan. Now, he's got a did not participate, so his 40 time is not listed on the NFL Draft Bible Big Board. He is 6'2". 6'2". Now, some people think that Corey Davis is overrated as a wide receiver. I happen not to be one of those people at all. Now, at all. Now, let's see here. We've got... Hey, folks! Can you go back and give a thumbs up to the channel, to this show stream? Thanks, appreciate it. Now, cool. Now, we've got Miami Dolphins. I have the Miami Dolphins taking Marion Humphrey. That's right. Thank you, Barry. Very appreciated. Marion Humphrey is someone else that is from the great Alabama Crimson Tide. He's another Crimson Tide cornerback, ran a 4.4140 and has been an effective player, particularly in the trips, rip, Liz defensive schemes that Nick Saban has developed and runs effectively in the Crimson Tide defensive backfield. I think he'll be a player that will add that extra dimension of being able to recognize a throw just as it's happening and then break up passes effectively, much as he did for Alabama and will in the NFL. A great ball hawking cornerback. So I've got Mr. Humphrey going to the Miami Dolphins, where he'd be a very effective player. The New York Giants, there are a number of people who said the Giants were going to take Deshaun Watson. I am not one of them. I think the Giants are going to take Cam Robinson, another Alabama Crimson Tide player. That's right, Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson, the amazing offensive tackle that will take on the defensive end that is Myles Garrett, and think about Chicago Bears, New York Giants. If the Bears draft Myles, it'll be Myles against Cam Robinson. That will be a battle for the ages. Once done in the SEC, will be done in the NFL. Outstanding. Really looking forward to that. Let's see here. Detroit needs. Let's see here. We've got. Thank you for the moderation, Barry Lee. Much appreciated. All right, now let's see here. Crawford 371. Since that was fake news by some clowns, and they were clowns, yes, the deal can still fall apart by the Raiders' ineptitude on the business side. Yeah, it could. It could happen. But again, Oakland has to be aggressive. It's just that simple. It has to be aggressive. Now, let's see here. We've got the Raiders next. Getting Jabril Peppers, free safety, Michigan. Now think about it. Who was the last Michigan DB the Raiders drafted in the first round? Anybody? Anyone? Anybody? Hello? Anybody? Come on. Yes! That's right. This is the second coming. Jabril Peppers. The Charles Woodson of the future. Technically the Charles Woodson of the 21st century, since Woodson came to the Raiders in 98. So there we go. That's right. C. Wood returns in the form of Jabril Peppers. That's right. Barry Lee says, don't know Zenny was, whatever. I'm done with that, Barry. I moved on, man. Peppers would be an enormous pickup for the Raiders. That's right. Yeah, and just, think about it. The symbolism of having another Michigan DB drafted number 1 who can play such an amazing role on the Raiders' defense. A defense already stacked with great players. Edwards, Mack. I mean, my goodness. Peppers would be the icing on the cake in the first round. I know there are people who want inside linebacker help. You can get that in lower rounds, but hey, how about Peppers in the first round for the Raiders? I like that idea. Speaking of Peppers, he would be a cornerback or safety. Well, he's really a free safety, but Bernard, he is, and I've seen him play on video in schemes that are much a lot like the 46 defense. Now, what's the 46? The 46 is, I don't have anything to sketch it out here. 4 down linemen to generally the weak side, 3 linebackers, 2 linebackers strong side, 2 over the tight end, middle linebacker over, well, the center, but back about 3.5 yards, and then a rover back, generally, which is usually the strong safety, okay, but placed in a rover position, generally on the weak side, the off tackle position. That's where Peppers would be. Peppers would kill at that position. No question about it. No question about it. Now, Miguel says the Raiders would need to draft a really great DT. And Jack Bauer says Joseph and Peppers. Wow. Yeah, I agree. Right. Bernard, I honestly would want him to play safety. Peppers and Joseph, game over. Exactly, game over. And I'm not saying he has to play in the scheme, the 46 scheme I described, right? No. He's played very well at free safety. I'm just simply saying that because I'm a 46 defense aficionado, in love with the idea of having him at that position in a 46. That's all. Now, Barry Lee says, I really think in addition, with a good pick this year, the Raiders have a really good chance at a title. I agree. Raiders unseat Patriots. You know, the Raiders ought to be playing that Patriots game at the Coliseum, not in Mexico. Sorry. Gosh. Yes. Now, moving along. Houston Texans. I have the Texans taking Notre Dame quarterback DeShone Kizer. Yep. Notre Dame quarterback DeShone Kizer to the Houston Texans, where I think he has a good chance of landing the starting role in that situation. Notre Dame quarterback DeShone Kizer. And I think, Rick Saratella has Kizer going in the second round on his big board, but I think in this scenario, Kizer, because basically Mahomes was drafted in 1, right? Kizer rounds out the picks. So you have Mahomes going, you've got Trubisky, you've got Watson, and then you've got Kizer. Okay, you've got those 4. All right. So Patrick Mahomes going number 1, but DeShone Kizer of Notre Dame, 6'4", 233, 4.8, 340. Not the fastest, but hey, an effective passer. Some people think he's one of the top 3 best passers. Miguel Rose. Henry Flores. Zinni, in all your years of doing mock drafts, did you ever come close to nailing it? I'm just talking about the first round picks. Yeah, I got Cam Newton, right? I got Cam Newton, Jameis Winston. That was a cinch. Cam Newton was less of a cinch because you had Todd McShay of ESPN and the aforementioned Mike Mayock speaking out against Cam and promoting Blaine Gabbert as the quarterback they felt was number 1. There was such hue and cry against Cam at number 1 because of allegations of stealing and all this other stuff, and his father's promoting him while he was in college, that there was a USA Today article which basically used dog whistle racism to write against Cam Newton, comparing him to every quarterback who happened to be black in the article, and then writing that, I'm not going to mention the author of the name, he's actually out of the business now, but he wrote that Blaine Gabbert played in a pro-style offense, whereas Cam Newton played in the spread. Now, anyone who knows Missouri football knows that Blaine Gabbert played in a spread like Cam Newton did. Okay? So, I wrote some of my blog posts on the website of the San Francisco Chronicle, SF Gate, in those years, and I blasted USA Today. And I designed the post that I wrote so that could be seen number one in a search for Cam Newton and Blaine Gabbert. All right? That was a deliberate shot from me. And then I saw the guy that wrote it in line at the NFL red carpet. I said, hey, that was me who wrote that. Frowned. Because it was wrong. You know, if you're going to do a hit job on someone, just be honest about it, but don't do that. That's why I rail against, journalists, because of examples like that. If you are against a player, just say, hey, look, I'm against this player because of this. Okay, fine. But at least we know where you're coming from. But when you, as a journalist, put up this veil of objectivity, when we know you're not objective, no, bad thing. Bad thing. So, let's see here. Oh, Davis Webb from Cal. I'm getting to Davis. Is there a Dak Prescott in this draft? Yeah, actually there is a Dak Prescott in this draft. Let me talk about that in a second. Almost done here. We've got, let's see here. We've got the Seattle Seahawks picking up, the Garon Conley. And the Seattle Seahawks are getting Garon Conley. And Garon Conley is an Ohio State cornerback, 6 feet, 195 pounds, 4.440. A man that Rick Serritella of NFLDraftBible.com calls a kind of a one-hit wonder. He thinks he's one of these guys from Ohio State that is a flash, and maybe he's going to pan out later in the NFL. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But listed as a top pick. So, and he's high on his board. So, on the board of Rick Serritella from NFLDraftBible.com. Now, we have next Kansas City Chiefs, and I have them taking Stanford defensive end Solomon Thomas. It's a solid pick. Actually, some people think Thomas is going to go a lot earlier than this. He's certainly ranked a lot higher. He's ranked number 13 on the big board. He is a 6'2", 273, wins a 4.6940. It's not bad, all right? Hey, Zinni, are there any good players from Notre Dame in this year's draft? Yeah, DeShone Kizer. Just have him going to the Houston Texans. Let's see here. And, yeah, the Texans, I have the Texans, I have the Texans taking DeShone Kizer, all right? And Matt Burks called it. He says, Houston is definitely a quarterback away from a possible title. I think Houston is a great offensive coordinator away from a title, myself. Henry Flores, let's see here. I answered that one. Tom Savage, Bubble Land says, more secondary help for Seahawks. Question mark. Ouch. Now, yeah. Kansas City Chiefs, I named that. The Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, we all know, have really made quite the issue, I would say, of trying to get that great defensive end player and linebacker. Remember last year with the guy from Nebraska, it was Randy Gregory, who had the unfortunate drug issues. I really rooted for him. We all rooted for him at the draft last year. And that's, getting back to the Joe Mixon discussion, that's an example of rooting for someone who definitely deserves a second chance, who obviously kind of bumbles along and is just trying to get it together, but has a great deal of talent, and that's Randy Gregory, all right? But I have them taking David Njoku of Miami, 6'4", 246, 4.64 defensive end. I can't see him getting past the Cowboys down at 28. Now, 29, we have the Green Bay Packers, and I have Michigan State defensive tackle Malik McDowell going to the Packers. And Pittsburgh Steelers get can I get a drum roll from somebody? Because he's still on the board. Strong safety, Obi Melifonwu. The next, Troy Polamalu. And the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is a pick near and dear to my heart as a Falcons fan. Yes, I am a Falcons fan. I'm a fan of Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, Rich McKay, Falcons president, Dan Quinn, Falcons head coach, the architects of the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Falcons are a first-class organization. Evan Ingram, tight end, Mississippi, 4.240, 234 pounds, 6'3". That's right. That's the man that will be the new pass catcher at tight end in this mock draft from the throes of Matt Ryan. Now, there are people who think that the Falcons should, stock up for the quarterback of the future. They can get a quarterback in the lower rounds. But you can't leave Ingram just sitting there. Not with that kind of talent and speed. No. Not at all. Okay. Now, and finally, the New Orleans Saints. To round out and close the draft, I have them taking outside linebacker Tim Williams of Alabama, 6'2", 244 pounds, 4.6840. And that rounds out the 2017 NFL mock draft from Zenny62.com. And now we can, I'll go back to your questions. So it's 1:41, and we started just a little bit, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock? Wow. I've been talking that long? Jeez Louise. Have I been talking about that long? That's a while. Okay. Yeah, the mods are doing great work. Mods, thank you very, very much. It says 91 minutes and 17 seconds. I've been talking that long. I think I've been talking longer than that. Barry Lee says he's the only mod now. Let's see here. How long have I been going for? That is quite interesting. Let me check the control room. For a second here. I have been going for 1 hour and 31 minutes. Yeah. So 1 hour and 31 minutes. That's been healthy. Healthy. Excuse me. Healthy. Quite healthy. Now, let's see here. Solomon Thomas is a top 10 big pick, Buck Zone. But this is... Oh, someone asked me who I thought the next Dak Prescott would be. And, let me check my quarterback rankings to give you an answer to that there. And I've got, let's see here, open that up here. To get my rankings out of the way. And there is, let's see here, documents is my mock draft. NFL Combine quarterbacks. Open. 142. And there we go. Okay. So I think, just looking at, Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs is your Dak Prescott. Okay. I'm going to write that. The Dak Prescott of 2017 is Josh Dobbs. There you go. Can you give me a quick second round pick for my Detroit Lions? Let's see here. Second round pick, Detroit Lions. Oh, let's see here. What have I got? Got there's the draft order. That's the playoff teams. I don't have, let's see here. Oh, round 2. Detroit picks, let's see here. They are 21st. Okay, so I think what I've got here in terms of the Lions for 21, let's see here. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The person that may be on the board at that point is Quincy Wilson, the Florida cornerback. You've got Derek Rivers, the Youngstown State defensive end at 6'3", 248, 4'6", 140. You've got Auburn, Montravius Adams of Auburn, 6'2", 304, 4.87 defensive tackle. So those are just some of the quality names that are available, or looks like they're going to be available when the Lions pick at 21 in the second round down there. Okay, so you're saying second round pick for the Bucks. Oh, you're welcome. Second round pick for the Bucks. We're looking at. Let's see here. Go back to our listing here. Get our ducks in a row. So I've got a second round pick for the Bucks, right? Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be picking 18, about 3 spots over, so over the Lions, and so 3 spots over the Lions, and we're looking at Donta Foreman, running back of Texas, 4.4540. That would be a solid pick for the Bucks. If the Bucks were able to land Reuben Foster and then turn around and get that running back they seek in the lower rounds, that's a good solid pick for Texas. I don't know how many Texas games you've seen, but he's a great off-tackle runner. Nice combination of speed and power. That would be a great pickup for the Bucks there. You've got Adam Shaheen, the Ashland tight end, at that position, at that place. Going up a little bit, you've got, Josh Malone, Tennessee wide receiver, but I think, he's not fast enough, Malone, to really warrant being drafted. I think the Bucks would go more for defense. Maybe a Dory Jackson from USC at that position. Be a cornerback kick returner, 4.240. Someone like that. So, hope that helps. Thank you. Thank you, Boboland. Appreciate it. And let's see, Tease Tabor in the second says Buck Zone. Unspoken. Miguel Rose says that the Raiders need a lot of help on defense. Miguel, I'm not of the opinion that the Raiders need a lot of help on defense. I think what the Raiders need is a scheme that does not emphasize two-gapping. I understand Bill Belichick is a fan of two-gapping. What two-gapping is where the defensive line is basically holding the offensive line person in place and controlling either gap on one side, but that allows the line person to essentially control where the defender goes. And, for example, if I block to the right and I'm causing the defender to put pressure there, all right, and he's pressed here, I can have a play where I'm running a counter. The running back runs in that direction initially and then comes back the other way. So I've got the defender going this way and he's gone that way. And then he's got it, because this gap is open, I have to control that gap too. I'm stuck as a defender. I don't like that position. You give the defender one gap, have them play and control through that gap. That's my philosophy. Yeah, everybody has their idea. But, thank you. Unspoken Voices says, Zinni, what about a pass rusher? What about a pass rusher for who, Unspoken Voices? Buck Zone FTC, where do you think Jake Butt will go? Let me come back to, let's see here. Thanks, Miguel. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Who do you think the Raiders should draft in the third round? Thanks for asking that question for me. You're welcome. You're very welcome. You are very, very, very welcome. Okay. Now, the Raiders. Okay. Pass rusher for the Raiders. Well, here's the neat thing about Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers could be that pass rusher because he served in that role in Michigan, that blitzer, right? And he served as linebacker. So you get he's kind of a twofer for Peppers. But if you're talking about a pure pass rusher in the lower rounds, well, let's see where the Raiders go. Let's see what the Raiders situation is in the second round. In other words, who will be available, by the time they pick. All right, let's check on that, which would be at 24 again. So what we're looking at 24, about just a few spots down from the Lions. I'm going to stop at 2:00 Eastern, by the way. What we're looking at is let's see here. We're looking at defensive end Derek Rivers of Youngstown State, 6'3", 248. We're also looking at the aforementioned Adams from Auburn. He's a defensive tackle, however. But still, you know. Then we've got, oh, by the way, let's see here. I didn't talk about Davis Webb, but I want to talk about Davis Webb for a second as in his prospects as a Cal player. Ohio's Terrell Basham at 6'3", 269, 4740 is also, he's more of a third-round projection on the big board of the NFLDraftBible.com. So I think we're looking at someone like, if we go up a little bit, yeah, we don't have, he would be taken a little bit higher than he should be. But I'm going to go back and say basically like a Caleb Brantley of Florida. No, I don't see Mr. Watson of Florida State here. What's going on the big board? Where's my boy, number 44 from Florida State? That's the pass rusher the Raiders should go after. Defensive tackle, yes. 4 sacks in college, yes. He's done it all at that position. I like that guy. So, who do I think the steal of the draft will be? Ask Buckzone, and Bernard says, is there a pass rusher from Utah State? He could be a steal from the Raiders in the Raider round. That, I agree with you there. But here's the point. As far as the steal of the draft, I tell you, the way he's being devalued, I think John Ross is going to wind up being the steal of the draft. Because I say that this is a number 1 pick. Talking about the wide receiver from Washington. But there are people who have him going in the middle or lower rounds. That's the steal of the draft. You can get someone of that caliber who can really be the game changer for your offense. Let me put it this way. If he falls to the Bucs, John Ross, people will think that's a good pick. I'll think it's a steal. Because you're pairing him with Jameis Winston at quarterback, Vincent Jackson, Deshaun Jackson, okay, wide receivers, and you've got head coach Dirk Koetter, who basically wrote a paper on the long passing game. I mean, what better heaven for Ross to be than Tampa Bay? There's your steal. Now, you're thinking about lower rounds in terms of steals. I'll tell you who another steal would be is, I think Joshua Dobbs. Because you can't say Joshua Dobbs is the Dak Prescott of the draft and then not say he's the steal of the draft. So Joshua Dobbs as well. So I hope that answers your question, Buckzone. Yeah. Let's see here. We are 1:53, 7 minutes from going out for today. And I want to thank everybody for participating. This has been fantastic. Thank you. And thank you, moderators, for doing your commonly uncommon, fantastic job of controlling the situation at hand. It's been really great. Thank you very much. It's been fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. And let's see here. I will say signing off at 2 a.m. EST. Thanks all. Yeah. Don't forget to thumbs up the vid. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I will be at the Zenny62 will be at the NFL draft. At the NFL draft for 2017 for the 12th year in a row. Thank you. Thank you very much. 154. Now, anything else? Any other news? Let's see here. The Raiders lease issue. we talked about that the other night briefly. I haven't gone through it entirely. There is a thought that the Raiders are getting free rent, and that's the way it's being spun. Technically, it's not free because it's being tied to the loan, but we'll see what happens. I said, and I'll say it again, that what Oakland should have done is said, hey, here's the land, pay us the property tax, we'll count the property tax as your rent. That would have been a brilliant move. Just saying, okay? Now, Barry Lee says, I keep forgetting on the Eastern time. Oh, Joshua Gutierrez says, who are the Texans going to select in the first round? I have them taking DeShone Kizer from Notre Dame. Barry Lee says, I keep forgetting that you're on the Eastern time zone because I'm used to Oakland time zone. Yeah, welcome. Well, I'm on actually both, you know. I haven't been home. Well, I'm here home, but I haven't been back there in a while. And I'm sending rent money back there, and I'm here, and, you know, it's kind of like, doesn't make sense to do that, and, you know, but anyway. But, hey, I live in Oakland, and my mom has said I should run for mayor in Oakland, so I've got to maintain my apartment, right, if I want to do that. I haven't officially announced that at all, just saying. Still thinking about it. Made a website communicating my ideas for cultural economic development in Oakland and how we can get it done. Cultural economic development is actually an approach. You should read about it sometime. Hey, thank you, Bernard. Appreciate that. You should read about it. Cultural economic development. That's right. Now, the other idea, by the way, as far as this group of people who feel like they can have these different accounts, or maybe it was one person with different accounts and do this fake news stuff, you know, I hope you realize that your efforts don't do anything but waste time, not so much for me, but for you, you know, because at the end of the day, if you do that, considering the crackdown on fake news, and you're reporting it, and I have up there, hey, I didn't say that I blocked you, you could lose your Twitter channel. You realize that? You could lose your Twitter channel. Now see, I've been on Twitter since its inception. I was at the launch party for Twitter at Mighty Nightclub in San Francisco in 2007. You weren't. I've met Jack Dorsey. You haven't. So my point is that, and Evan Williams. So my point is that I am one of the people that helped establish Twitter's base. That's demonstrated. You, on the other hand, you're the shit. You're not. I don't say that mean in a good way. I mean in a bad way. You've done nothing. Nothing. You're a troll. You're one of the people that people want to get rid of and all that. So, okay. Let's see here. Where do I have Sidney Jones going? I'll get back to it because I'm actually about to sign off. Yeah, wasn't that sad about Aaron Moran? Very sad. Very sad. Unspoken Voices. Put the link for the website. What? Oh, for my website? I'll do that. I'm not quite ready to put it out there yet, but almost. If you ran for mayor, would you try to bring an expansion team back to Oakland? Yes. And not only that, I want to formalize economic development so that we have a sports commission. You're looking at the only person who actually started a sports commission in Oakland's history. And I want Oakland to think about sports as economic development, not as Mark Davis, Joe Lacob, Dave Cavall, and John Fisher. You know, not personalities, but businesses. And how to weave those businesses in with our overall economic development program in a way that benefits the city and those who have least. So, yeah. Matt Galloway, quick question, sir. I'm a longtime Steelers fan. Do you think they will look towards the future in the draft and look for a quarterback? Thank you in advance, kind sir. I do think they will in the lower rounds. It depends on who falls to them, or if they trade up. If they feel the need to really go after like they could wind up with DeShone Kizer. They could wind up with Deshaun Watson if he's around there, or they could trade up. But my heart of hearts doesn't see the Steelers making that kind of action in the higher rounds. I don't see that in the first round. In the lower rounds, I do see them filling that need, perhaps with some like a Nate Peterman or Davis Webb from Cal, you know. But in the higher rounds, I don't see. In the first round, I don't see the Steelers doing that. No. Barry, thank you. I mean, hey, it's 2:00. I'm going now. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. I think we've been on for like 2 hours now, right? Wax on, wax off. Thank you all very much for participating. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. And remember, Zenny62. Hey, tomorrow I'll have, hopefully, Rick Saratella on NFL Draft Bible. A little earlier show, maybe about 3 hours earlier. Stay tuned to talk. We're going to talk about our sleepers in the draft. So if you have questions about sleeper picks, who's going to emerge and be that Dak Prescott from Rick Saratella's point of view, other low-round picks, come back tomorrow, well, really today, and we'll talk about it with Rick Saratella of NFL Draft Bible, NFLDraftBible.com. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Good night. Who's your daddy? Hey, how you doing? Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bernard. Appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I am to please. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Well, almost same bat time.